Hello, my name is Lee Carter. I'm the president of Sleep Essentials. That's a mattress company that I started 12 years ago, selling big brand name mattresses. After a few years of selling big brand name mattresses, I discovered their poor quality products, so I started making my own mattress. So I now make my own mattress. Now, as a licensed bedding producer, I have to be compliant with all government regulations on mattresses. In 2007, the Consumer Product Safety Commission began requiring all mattresses sold in the United States must essentially be flame-proof.
The CPSC would have never passed a rule that allowed certain materials to be used that would harm consumers.
Ostensibly to protect consumers from mattress fires, or at least that's how they promote it.
The CPSC would have never passed a rule that allowed certain materials to be used that would harm consumers.
Well, anyway, I got a call. Wait a minute before I get to that. Of course, in order to meet these strict flammability regulations, mattress manufacturers are using toxic fire retardant chemicals.
The CPSC would have never passed a rule that allowed certain materials to be used that would harm consumers.
And these chemicals, the Consumer Product Safety Commission admits they're toxic. They even admit that you absorb them into your body. But they claim in their risk assessment, which I have a copy of, and I've shown it to my customers when they come into my showroom. I've actually shown this in detail on one of my other videos. I'm not going to go into detail here at this point because that's not the focus of this particular video. They admit that you absorb these chemicals, but they conclude at the end of this report that you don't absorb enough to make you sick. Now, I got a phone call from a woman out of state. I'm not going to tell you where she's from or her name. I'm going to protect her from potential defamation lawsuits from the company that she bought her mattress from. But anyway, I want you to listen to her voicemail, and then I will tell you what we talked about. So take a listen to this real quick.
Hi, my name is and I've been watching some of your videos. I have a permanent neurological and inhalant injury from exposure to high levels in my mattress, and I'm wanting to understand a little bit more about the industry. If you would be gracious enough to give me a call back and chat with me a little bit, that would be really great. Thank you so much.
The CPSC would have never passed a rule that allowed certain materials to be used that would harm consumers.
Okay. Well, I called her back. The video, of course, the audio that you just heard, I took her name out of it, and I took her phone number out of it. But I called her back. We talked a great deal. In fact, I've talked to her now at least 12 times on the phone, and I've gotten a great deal of detail about what she's talking about. She says she has permanent neurological damage from her big brand name mattress. She bought a very big brand name, a brand name I guarantee that if you've been searching for a mattress, you've heard this brand name. And it has caused her permanent neurological damage. What she told me is that she, after owning the mattress, she didn't associate with the mattress until later, but after owning the mattress for a couple of years, she's been going to several doctors trying to figure out why she's suffering from severe fatigue issues, memory loss issues. She said there were even moments when she couldn't even remember her own children's names. Her memory loss was so bad. Went to many different doctors, couldn't quite pinpoint what the problem was. Well, she decided to get a hair analysis done. The hair analysis will, tell what a person has in her body. So if you have arsenic in your body, it'll show up in your hair. Many forensic investigators will sometimes use a hair analysis if they suspect some form of poisoning. So she did a hair analysis. It cost about $200, $250. She sent her hair off, and it came back and had a high level of antimony in her body. She doesn't know what that is, so she goes to the internet and searches for antimony and finds out it's a fire retardant chemical, heavy metal, which is more toxic than mercury. It mimics arsenic, and it's in her body. And a light goes off in her head. She's thinking, well, you know what? I didn't start having these health issues until we bought that new big brand name mattress. So she's thinking that if the mattress is really making her sick, she may have an actual a lawsuit case on her hands. So she quit sleeping in the mattress, suspecting it's the mattress, and bought herself a very expensive organic mattress, a name brand you probably never heard of, but she kept the mattress. She put it in a storage facility and paid rent to store it, keeping her evidence. And when she called me, she told me that she had actually sent a sample. Now, this is a sample of her mattress. I'm going to talk about this in a minute. But she sent a sample of this off to a lab to have it tested for antimony, and it came back positive. Now, of course, she's told me all this over the phone. So I asked her, did she ever get any value, quantitative value of the antimony that's in the mattress? And the test she did was mainly a screen that let her know that the antimony was in the mattress. So I asked her, would you send me a sample of your mattress? So she cut off a sample of the mattress. She cut it from the top all the way down to the springs and sent me this. As you can see, this is the quilt material. This blue stuff is the gel memory foam, which is garbage, by the way. This stuff is not good for about 4 years anyway. And I talk about that in a great deal in my educational video. Now, underneath this fabric here, this quilt fabric, is this mesh layer. This mesh layer is what is the fire barrier. This is what contains the chemicals. So when she sent this to me, I sent this off to a lab near me in Christiansburg, Virginia. The lab is Polymer Solutions in Christiansburg, Virginia. They did a fantastic job for me. Well, when they tested this piece of fabric, I want to show you the test results. This test results that I have here is sent to me by Polymer Solutions. I paid for this. I paid for the analysis and the report. In this chart here, it says that this fabric has 1,757 parts per million in the fabric. So it has antimony to the extent of 1,757 parts per million. Now, that figure doesn't tell you a whole lot until I share with you this piece of information. CertiPure is a company, an independent company, that certifies the purity of foams in the upholstery and mattress industry. So lots of companies, in fact, the big brand name company that she bought this mattress from actually has a CertiPure certification, certifying that the foams are pure as a matter of fact, I'll just read it here. Made without ozone depleters, made without PBDEs and other flame retardants, made without mercury, lead, or other heavy metals, made without formaldehyde, made without, I can't pronounce this, I can't pronounce it, but anyway, regulated by the Consumer Product Safety Commission, and low VOCs, or volatile organic compounds. So CertiPure is a company that certifies specifically the foam that these companies are using, certifying that these are perfectly healthy, chemical-free foams. And of course, the CertiPure certification makes the mattress manufacturer look good. Look, our mattresses come with a certification of purity. Well, they're only certifying the purity of the foam. That's not telling the whole story about the whole mattress. Okay? But in CertiPure certification, they certify that the foam meets a standard that they have set up of having a level of antimony of 0.5 parts per million or less. In other words, that's the upper limit in what they consider safe in foam. 0.5 parts per million. That's less than 1. Yet this fabric in the mattress has 1,750 parts per million, according to the test done by Polymer Solutions, which is a chemical lab. So this woman has 3,500 times the level of antimony that CertiPure certifies that their foams are pure of. And they did the certification for the same manufacturer that this mattress is in. Okay? They're only certifying the foam. It's a ruse. Mattress manufacturers like to promote these certifications, but you have to be very careful. They're only certifying the foam, not the whole mattress or the other fabric materials. Now, the Consumer Product Safety Commission and mattress manufacturers claim that the chemicals stay bound to this mesh material and don't get out, and thus don't get into you to any significant level. Although the Consumer Product Safety Commission does prove in their risk assessment that you do absorb antimony from mattresses that are treated with antimony, but it's not enough to make you sick. That's what they claim.
FR materials are inside mattresses. They form a barrier just under the cover or ticking. The CPSC says to the extent that FR chemical treatments remain bound to or within the mattress, exposure and its attendant risk would be minimized.
So knowing that they're going to claim that the chemical stays bound to that mesh fabric, and we know that the antimony is in this woman's body, I know it's in the fabric. So I went back to Polymer Solutions and had them test the top fabric, the actual surface that you put your sheets over and lay against. And I have that report, and that report here reports that the surface fabric has 207 parts per million. So she still has, or is still exposed to, 400 times the level of what Certipure considers safe for foam. So it's no wonder that this woman that contacted me, he's got health issues, serious health issues. The reason I'm sharing this with you is because sometimes people claim that I'm using scare tactics to convince people not to buy consumer products, or that I'm demonizing the Consumer Product Safety Commission. I'm simply giving you the facts. The reason why this woman, really, when she contacted me, was a sort of a major benefit to me is because I actually can take her material out of her mattress and have it tested to prove that not only does it have these toxic chemicals, it has it in a level that is toxic, highly toxic. And she is proof positive that that's the case with her neurological problems. This leads me to talking to you about the Consumer Product Safety Commission. You have to understand something. Just because it's called Consumer Product Safety does not mean that they're into consumer product safety. It's just a name. You have to understand how they operate. The Consumer Product Safety Commission is made up of 5 board members. They're nominated by the President of the United States for a 7-year terms. At least I think it's 7. I could be off a couple of years, maybe 6. But all right, so they have that. They hold that office. They make regulatory decisions on consumer products. You have to understand something. These 5 people are not elected by the American people. You can't fire the American people. Can't fire them. They can't unelect them or replace them. They're nominated and appointed by the President of the United States. You have to understand there's hundreds, if not thousands, of people that help the president get elected. And once he gets into the office, he appoints some of these people that have helped him work on his campaign or work for the Democrat Party or the Republican Party. And he puts them in offices that's lucrative to them. Not only lucrative from the salary and benefits standpoint of the office, but these people are paid under the table. Okay? You have to understand the chemical industry stands to make tremendous amount of money by the Consumer Product Safety Commission requiring all mattresses sold in the United States to be flame retardant. Okay? That's something you have to understand. Well, so it's very easy for the Consumer Product Safety Commission to pay these people under the table or give them lavish vacations or stuff like that to persuade them to pass legislation, to create legislation out of thin air, create legislation. Not something that the consumers of America are demanding, not something that has come about by serious issues of mattress fires. No, they just create it out of thin air because somebody has influenced these people on the board of the Consumer Product Safety Commission. You have to understand, if they're not elected, they're not accountable. Okay, so they're not accountable to us American people because we didn't elect them. I mean, you have to remember in your history, we rebelled against England because the English Parliament would pass all kinds of regulations against the colonists. And the colonists said, wait a minute, that's regulation without representation. Or you've heard the phrase taxation without representation. It was about taxes, but it was about all kinds of regulations. And we had no representatives to vote on our behalf, which means that Parliament could walk all over the colonies. So the colonies knew that they were living under tyranny if that was the case. So when we created our own Constitution, Article 1, Section 1 of the Constitution says all legislative powers vested in Congress. Congress. All means all, not some. Not Congress does some and then they can appoint it to the Consumer Product Safety Commission to create regulations, because once that's done, you can't fire these people that pass these horrible regulations on mattresses. You want your congressman to vote on it, so if he's passing bad legislation, you can kick him to the curb the next term. Okay? You can actually impeach him. Although that's rarely done, it can be done if he's that bad. And I can assure you, this woman that contacted me from out of state about her health issues, this is her mattress, she would love to give a good swift kick to the 5 members of the Consumer Product Safety Commission for what they've done to her health. And I can assure you, she's not the only one. So the reason I'm sharing this with you is because do not trust your government. And do not trust large mattress manufacturers in the chemical industry that stand to make tremendous profits while we suffer health-wise. To further explain what I'm talking about, the chemical industry looking out for its own interest by lobbying the Consumer Product Safety Commission. I've got an article here out of Firefighter magazine. It's Firefighter Quarterly magazine. This was actually sent to me by one of my customers. This is an interesting customer of mine because I'm in Virginia. He drove from Indiana to my store to buy one of my mattresses. Put it in his pickup truck, drove it back. He bought it without his wife coming with him because they had a newborn baby. He and his wife both had written me back a testimonial of how much they liked the mattress. Well, anyway, that was 2 years ago. Just recently, he called me and said, I got an article in he's a firefighter, and so he gets this Firefighter Quarterly. And he said, there's an article in here I think you'd be interested in. So my customers actually think about me years later regarding what I do. But anyway, this article in Firefighter Quarterly reveals a little bit about what the chemical industry does. The title of this article, it's a fairly short article, is IAFF, which is the firefighters union, urges federal ban on toxic fire retardant chemicals. In testimony December 9th before the Consumer Product Safety Commission in Washington, Assistant to the General President for Occupational Health, Safety, and Medicine, Pat Morrison, said, this is the largest health-related issue facing the firefighting profession. Okay? So the fire retardant chemicals in the mattresses or upholstery products is a serious issue for firefighters. Other groups petitioning Consumer Product Safety Commission for a ban include the American Academy for Pediatrics. So pediatric doctors are concerned about these chemicals. National Hispanic Medical Association, the Learning Disabilities Association of America, so people that are concerned about learning disabilities that our children have, like autism, and anybody who has an autistic child knows full well what the chemicals do to their kid. And the Consumer Union and Consumer Federation of America. So you got 4 organizations that are, talking to the Consumer Product Safety Commission urging a ban on these chemicals. But it says here, the American Chemical Council, which represents chemical manufacturers, testified in opposition to a ban. So the chemical industry, obviously, it goes without saying, oppose any ban on fire retardant chemicals and products. Not because they're concerned about fire, because they're concerned about their bottom line. Now, the representative for the let's see, this is the president of the Occupational Health, Safety, and Medicine, Pat Morrison, said, because some of them were in this article proposing some regulations. He warned, he said, the chemical industry has a history of skirting chemical bans by making slight, inconsequential changes and renaming products. It's easy to see the chemical industry is doing everything it can for its own bottom line. They have, I can tell you, I don't have any evidence of it. It doesn't take much to figure out. They have influenced the Consumer Product Safety Commission for these fire regulations which benefits the chemical industry. So firefighters are opposing it. When consumers know about the toxic chemicals in the mattress, they oppose it. But the Consumer Product Safety Commission doesn't care what you want because they've been paid off. It's real easy to understand because, as a consumer, let's say, for example, you're allergic to formaldehyde. If you buy a product, wouldn't you like to know if there's formaldehyde in it? I mean, I've actually had a customer come to me and say he bought a particular extremely large mattress manufacturer brand. They delivered to his home, put it in the bedroom, and just the smell, the very strong fumes smell from this very expensive, well-known memory foam mattress was making him sick. And he told me that his symptoms were the same symptoms he gets when he's exposed to formaldehyde. So I said to him, Mr. Poole, as a matter of fact, formaldehyde is a flame retardant chemical that can be used in that mattress. And he said, well, that's what's in that mattress. I know my symptoms. And he said, I never would have bought that product if I had known. Now, if the Consumer Product Safety Commission really did this for the consumer, each mattress has a little law label on it. They could have easily required mattress manufacturers to disclose what chemicals they're using. So if you, as a consumer, is allergic to formaldehyde, you'll know this product's got formaldehyde in it. I can't buy it. They're not trying to. They're actually trying to keep the consumer from knowing what's in the mattresses. And if you ask a mattress manufacturer, they're not going to tell you what they use, because if you do any research on the chemicals, you'll say, I'm not buying that product. Secondly, like I've said, most consumers, when I share all this information with, they say, I don't want a flame retardant mattress. The minute chance of getting a fire, I'd rather take that risk rather than the risk of absorbing toxic chemicals every night in my mattress. But the Consumer Product Safety Commission didn't seem to care what consumers wanted. Again, they do not represent consumers. They represent whoever's paying them, because we, consumers, can't fire them.
They said that, the government wouldn't mandate anything, that would have long-term effects, that they knew about. And I said, the government's not always right, I don't think.
Listen, I hope this video has been helpful and influential. I'm trying to expose what's really going on so that you're a well-educated consumer. I hope you'd be interested in my product. To learn more about it, please go to my website, mattresseducation.net. As soon as you log on, there's a video that starts playing. It's an hour and 20-minute complete mattress education video that will educate you about marketing gimmicks, the cheap materials that are used by large mattress manufacturers, and then it teaches you about what I produce. I produce my own mattresses. I make essentially the best mattress that you can buy, and it has no fire retardant chemicals. So I hope this video has been helpful. Please, of course, if you like this video, by the way, really appreciate it. I couldn't thank you enough. Forward it to your friends and your family. Share it, because that's how people get informed. If there's any chance of reversing the Consumer Product Safety Commission's sick things that they're doing, it's important that the average American understand how it works and what's going on. So please share this video. Thank you very much for watching.
Hello, Lee. This is Sharon Connor. We just purchased the bed from you, and I want you to know what a wonderful, fantastic bed this is. I'll call back sometime when you are there. I've never met you, but you have made such a huge difference in the quality of life. Getting up in the morning here this morning and not hurting, being able to breathe. So I just wanted to thank you so much again, and thank you for the videos and everything you're doing. But again, I'll contact you again sometime when you're there. But I know it's Sunday and you're closed, but I just had to tell you thank you. You have no idea what this means to me. So thank you again, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.